Therefore,
all right, I'm going to get our recordings here. It is 9:29. I just wanted to get that cooking here before I forget. But yeah, there is a lot of crazy predictions about what's going to go on this month, this year. In fact, even like tomorrow. That's, for anybody that's following the big lawsuit with XRP, a lot of people are predicting that they're going to settle tomorrow before the month end, because I guess that's year end for the SEC. They close out their yearly books the end of September. So they're trying to get a win on record under that guy that's running it, Gary Gensler. He's going to try and put a win under his wing in his first year. So there's a lot of pressure. And
did they also change directors just recently too at the Securities Exchange Commission? I saw a story about a director change coming up.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have jumped ship as soon as they filed the lawsuit 2 years ago. Almost their entire executive staff got up and left. They wanted no part of it. So that was pretty crazy. And I think all the ones that are in there now are just sacrificial lambs that are going to get thrown under the bus. That's what I just
like the girl at the first meeting. Remember the girl at the you said it yourself. She was a new hire.
Mm-hmm.
What's the legal term when they took a new hire and throw them into the fire? you said it. I can't remember it.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't remember what that was, but
yeah, it was good. Yeah,
that's exactly what that was. But anyway, I mean, a lot of crazy stuff. I think one of the things that is going to happen, they talk about Web 3.0, which is where everything is going. Web 3.0 is going to be the next iteration of the internet, and it's going to have to do with finance. So the banks are in serious trouble all over the world. They have done naughty stuff for the last 100 years, and it's finally come with them. It's like they've dug such a big hole, there's no way out. And I mean, look at the fees that they charge us as consumers. Like if you get a consumer credit card, and let's say your credit is not completely stellar, they will charge you on that card up to like 28%. That's just like robbery.
That's actually most of the credit cards, unless you've got something special going on. Plus, they really need $15 a month from every client to keep a checking account going. I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The banks and the credit card companies and the merchant accounts. I don't know about you guys, but I run 3 different merchant accounts for my businesses. And I was just in the last 2 days, it took me actually 2 full days this year to get my taxes ready to go for my tax guy. And I've got all my columns lined up. And I just about shit a golden goose when I saw how much I paid for credit card processing fees. It was in the tens of thousands of dollars. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I gotta tell you, when the Web 3.0 goes in, there's gonna be no more need for that. I don't know exactly how all this stuff is gonna work, but the whole DeFi thing, where you will be able to be your own bank, you'll be able to loan money from yourself and pay yourself whatever interest rate you want, if you want to. And the banks they're just coming unglued over all this, but it's coming and there's no way they can stop it. The genie is truly out of the bottle at this point. And for us, for anybody that is doing business online and taking money across the internet, like I take a lot of money across the internet, between all my businesses, I'll be able to save those tens of thousands of dollars in transaction fees and credit card fees, merchant fees, all that stuff. That'll all go into my pocket instead of theirs. So you got to kind of keep an eye on this as it unfolds. But one of the things, if you work with clients, this could be a potential gold mine for changing them over, saving them a massive amount of money, and getting them on a platform where everybody's going to want to do business on it. Like one of the things I found out, I work a lot in the internet marketing space. We sell SaaS software to SEO guys. And one of the things I found that by accepting PayPal, we were able to increase our sales by over 30%. Now, I don't accept PayPal anymore because they completely screwed us. They're crooks. I won't have anything to deal with them. But that is one thing I can tell you with no uncertainty, that we got 30% more business when we offered PayPal, because guys that are doing stuff online, they like to deal without cash, you know, for who knows what reason. But they have PayPal dollars, and it's interesting because it's almost like it's monopoly money, and they'll spend it much freer. They're much easier to make sales with PayPal. And you know, it's a total mind thing. $1 in PayPal is the same as $1 in your wallet in your pocket, right? But they don't see it that way. They see it as play money. They're like, oh, that money is PayPal. I can spend that. It's not going to cost me anything. You know, it's like I get gift cards from all of my credit cards give me gift cards when I use them, right? So I use credit cards in my business to pay for everything. It makes it so easy for me because at the end of the month, I write one check, pay the credit card off, no interest, no fees. It's just like a free loan for 30 days, basically. And for every $8,000 I spend, I get a $100 gift card for a restaurant, right? So all of my hosting charges, all my server fees, I mean, I probably get $300 worth of gift cards a month. So I get these, and it's so funny because a gift card is the same thing as PayPal. It's like dollars in your pocket. If you go to a restaurant and you've got $100 gift card, that's just like having $100, right? But you don't see it that way. You spend more freely with it. Like you'll buy all the add-ons that you normally wouldn't have bought if you had to pay for it, right? It's just, it's a weird thing. It's the same thing as PayPal. Like when Barb's going out with her friends, she's always asking me, you know, for the gift cards. And I'm like, okay, here. And she, when I give her the gift card, she pays for everybody because it's like free money. It's the same thing with PayPal. It acts as though it's free money. So I don't know if that's going to spill over when we start taking payments in crypto, but I think it will. And because crypto is the same thing as PayPal. When PayPal started, they had the whole idea of what Ripple is, what XRP is. Didn't work out because they weren't quite set up with it. I don't know if you guys know the whole history behind PayPal, but that was Elon Musk, him and I think it was Peter Thiel. They kind of put their minds together and formed this thing. And their idea behind it was the same idea that Ripple and XRP is right now today.
What are Ripple and XRP, John? You're using acronyms. You're using code. What is that?
It's a company. Ripple is a company that has created a cryptocurrency called XRP. And it's basically made for moving money across continents. It's made for transferring money at the speed of light for almost no cost. So imagine like Swift. Are you familiar with the Swift system, how they send wires? Swift is the underlining rails for wires and banks. Like if you go to a bank and you say, I need to do a wire transfer, Swift is the rails that's going to transfer that money. So when I do a wire transfer, I go to the bank, I say, I need to send, $5,000 to India, to pay some of my people over there. Well, it takes almost a week for them to get the money, and it costs me $35 to send it. Whether I'm sending $1 or $10,000, it's costing me $35 to send that wire. So with Ripple and XRP, I could use the XRP token because it has a value to send that money to that other country. It's there as fast as you can send an email, so seconds. And it costs about 1/4 cent to do it. So that's the future of money transfers. The banks hate it. That's why I believe the lawsuit is in place, to try and slow it down so that they can squeeze every last penny, every last ounce of juice out of the system that has made them very wealthy for the last 100 years or so, more than 100 years. But think about that for businesses, the value of being able to send money instantaneously for a fraction of a cent. That's pretty large appeal. That's very large appeal. And it doesn't get lost. I've heard horror stories about mega transfers going over across the seas for real estate transactions. And a week later, nobody can find it. Like, what the hell? And then they have to backtrack and figure out where it's at. So it solves a whole bunch of problems. And as it trickles down, like for us, it's going to come down into the retail market. People are going to be using this. I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but in the mainstream news now, they're talking about all these new bills coming out that are endorsed by the president, and they're calling it Biden bucks. It's basically an electronic version using crypto to convert our dollars into crypto. They call it a stable coin. So you'll trade your dollars at some point for these stable coins, and the stable coin will be worth $1. So it'll be an equal trade, dollar for dollar. But then all transactions will be done electronically. Now, the benefit, there's a lot of benefit on both sides of the fence, and there's a lot of potential evil on one side of the fence. And the thing with the cryptocurrency is there's a lot of things. It's an electronic thing. There's a lot of things that can be built into that coin. They call them coins. They're really not coins, but they call it that so we can visualize money, right? So when they call it cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin, it's not really a coin. It's just an electronic thing. It's like email. You know, you can't like physically open an email with an envelope opener, right? It's the same concept. But in this electronic version of this coin, one of the things that they can slip in there, that in these bills, if you look at the bills that are about to be passed, is not only identity verification of who's doing the transaction, but what the transaction is for. And potentially, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but I know the technology and I know it can. They could potentially block your ability to buy certain things based on your identity. That's the evil part. And, you know, I really don't want to believe that's coming, but there's a lot of people that think it is. I truly don't believe that's going to happen. And if it does, this will no longer be America. and it's gonna not be right.
Well, a jumping off point of what you just stated there, John, is in marketing. The thing is that when our names get on everybody's shopping list, and they know who we are, and the advertising comes, so the connection to that and money is just a hairline.
Well, the thing is, they'll wrap it. They'll put it in a wrapper to make it like it's good for you, right? Like, let's say you're diabetic, and they monitor your volume of what you buy, and you're buying too much sugary shit. And all of a sudden now you go to the market and you try and buy a Snickers bar and it says, can't have that. That's not good for you. Now, what if you were buying it for somebody else? They don't care. That is a world I don't want to live in. That's not free America. That would suck. And I don't mean to get off on this to, I know this is supposed to be an SEO marketing act call, but the way this trickles down is this is going to be the rails of our future business. It's going to run on this, I guarantee you. It's like when I told people in the early to mid 90s, I was telling people how business was going to run in the future. Nobody believed me. They all poo-pooed it. And they said, nah, my father-in-law told me, he goes, I wouldn't put my all my eggs in that internet basket. He goes, I don't see that happening. And I'm like, well, that's okay. I see it for you. It's coming. The train has already left the station. And it was a pretty good place for me to position myself. And, I've told people in the last 6 months to a year, I said, I've already seen this. I've already lived through this process twice. And this is third. They're calling this Web 3.0. This is just the next iteration of what's coming. And you notice as things roll out, first it was just the internet, it was email, and then Web 2.0 was the interactive part, the e-commerce part. You could actually shop and buy and all that. And if you notice that the adoption, at first it takes like this long to adopt anything. And then the second time it's this long. And then the third time it's going to go fast. The adoption process on the Web 3.0 that's coming I believe is going to go faster than anything we've ever seen. And to know that,
settle that case tomorrow.
I know that I don't know about tomorrow. There's a lot of people that think that's going to happen because tomorrow is the end. It's the fiscal end year of the SEC, and Gensler wants that win under his wing, and he's going to consider a settlement a win,
Right.
even though it's really not. He's going to call it a win just to save face. So I think there's a high likelihood, but I have no idea. I have no idea if it's going to happen or not. I hope it does, because it'd be very good for me. I've been stockpiling XRP now for almost 4 years. So it would be very good. But, for us as marketers, one of the things I made a tremendous amount of money on in the early part of the internet was taking businesses from their legacy systems and converting them, building them websites, getting their emails set up, stuff they had no idea how to do. And the week before, I had no idea how to do it either. I just saw these guys need this. If I figure it out, I can scoop that money. And I scooped that like a mad banshee. I got my net out and I netted all I could get. It's in business and in marketing and all that. It's called blue water. If you're first to market, there's no competition. Everybody needs what you got. There's nobody else that provides it. It's blue water. You're swimming in blue water. If you wait and try and get in on the tail end of it, like people now that are jumping, trying to start SEO businesses, it's red. You're swimming in blood red water. The sharks have chewed up everything in their path and there's nothing left. You shift your business into blue water and you find out, where the opportunities are, you can really capitalize on that. And I'm telling you, I see a lot of blue water ahead in taking businesses that are doing a tremendous volume of business online and shifting them over into the Web 3.0, allowing them to accept cryptocurrency as payments. I think there's going to be a lot of blue water ahead in that. So
Which tools are available for that these days?
There are none. That's the thing. This is at the very beginning of this thing. There's probably, I've heard of a couple of WordPress plugins for it, but I don't really know that they're stable and they've really got their shit together. And it's not like this is going to happen this week. But this rush, when everybody gets their eyes open to this, I guarantee you all this stuff is about to just be full stream in the media, and everybody's going to know about it. It's like in the 90s when I was talking about internet and email. People were looking at me like I was from Mars, and it didn't bother me. I always get looked at like that. So since it didn't bother me, I continued. And there was a shift that happened almost overnight, that I could not leave my house without hearing the chatter of internet being spoken. Like, I remember the first time it really hit me, I was in a sandwich shop. I'm sitting there eating my sandwich, and the guy behind me is saying, "Hey, you heard about the internet?" He goes, "I got to get a website." And then the person to the left of me, same thing. The person to the right of me, it was like the chatter was just like, I'm like, holy shit. It was like somebody flipped a light switch on. And all of a sudden, everybody was talking about the internet now, and websites, and getting their business online. And it was a crazy time. And I think that is about to happen with the whole crypto thing. And it's been around for a while. Bitcoin has been around for over a decade. So it's not like it's new. The adoption is, you guys have missed that ramp up period. The ramp up period is kind of over. We're at that ledge where all of a sudden it's going to go over the ledge, and it's going to be mainstream. And
XRP's been around for 10 years too, right?
yeah, XRP has been around. It was called, there was some other name for it prior to that, like Ripple. Ripple came out of a variation of companies. Like when Elon Musk figured out that PayPal wasn't going to be the XRP, he jumped ship. He invested heavily in this other company. I forget the name of it. It was something coin. And he invested heavily into it. And then that company turned into Ripple. So Elon owns a big chunk of Ripple. In fact, he was one of the founders. He's got founder shares. Not too many people know about that. If you hunt on YouTube, you can find some videos that take that chain from where he went from PayPal to this other coin to Ripple. And he's got like 8 million shares of XRP, which is the founder's cut. That's how he got it.
But he doesn't actually advocate anything on public social media. He advocates Dogecoin for all reasons.
Yes.
I have no idea. It doesn't make sense.
And it makes sense. Now what's going on makes sense. It's almost like it's being held back so certain people can get in position, and then they're going to just rip it loose. The whole lawsuit doesn't make sense. None of the arguments, there was no valid point in any of the arguments for why the lawsuit even exists. And in fact, there's no way it'll go to trial, because in a trial you have a jury, and what they're doing, a trial is to dispute facts. Well, there's no fact in this case that's in dispute. The only thing that's in dispute is the law. What is the law? So the judge is going to have to take all the facts, none of which are in dispute at all. The judge is going to have to take all the facts and apply the law to it. And the only law that she's got to apply to it was written in 1933. And based on that law, there is no way in hell the SEC is going to win, because the law states that for it to be a security, which that's the argument, SEC says XRP is a security. Therefore, we're suing them for damages. That's why it got removed off all the crypto exchanges. They don't have a securities license. That's why the only crypto exchange you can purchase it from in the US is Uphold, because they have a securities license. So they can sell it whether it's a security or not. So they're still selling. That's why. So the deal is this 1933 law states you got to have these 4 key points in play for this to qualify as a security. Well, one of them, it falls under 3. But the big one is, for a security to be a security, there has to be a contract in place that the person purchasing it is acknowledging that this is an investment and they could lose their money. And nowhere in the history of XRP was there ever a contract. You went onto an exchange and you just bought it. It's a cryptocurrency, which is more toward a commodity than a security. So there's no way in hell they're going to be able to apply the law and win. And that's all the judge has to apply. She's got the facts, which, like I said, none are in dispute whatsoever. And it's hilarious. Like I've sat in, and I say sat in on a Zoom call, I sat in the courtroom and watched them argue this. And the SEC attorneys look like nut jobs. And the judge, it pisses her off. She asks valid questions that they can't answer or they don't want to answer. And she keeps asking them over and over and over. And she says, why are we even here? She's
Well,
just,
why can't she make a decision? That's what's so bizarre.
well, the court system has to go through a process. Everyone has to have their arguments. They have to have all this stuff, which the SEC has done a textbook example of how to drag a case out for the maximum amount of time. And that's exactly what they've done. But at this point, everything's on the table. There's nothing more that the attorneys can say. It's all in the judge's hands. It's gone to what's called a summary judgment. She's going to summarize the facts and make a judgment. Now, how long it's going to take her to do that? She could do that any day, or she could potentially drag that out, I believe, into March. So if it doesn't settle, if it does settle, chances are it's going to happen tomorrow because of what I had mentioned before. It's the end of their fiscal year, and there's real strong pressure for them to settle that thing. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, then it might ride out the whole storm and just be up to the judge of when she decides to come to a judgment. When, the outcome, who knows? Who knows? There's no sense to it. I don't know if you guys follow what's going on in the rest of the world. The rest of the world has already adopted XRP. If you look at their website, all the countries, all the companies, everybody that's rapidly moving into using the Ripple ledger and XRP as the token to move the value across the ledger. The rest of the world's in place. The US is the only one that hasn't got on board yet because there's a battle for who's going to control crypto. Is it going to be the SEC or one of the other government agencies, like the one that operates the commodities? Who's going to be in charge of it? And it's a big pissing match for who's going to get control over it. So the other thing is our government fundamentally is way behind the rest of the world, which, we're supposed to be a world power. We're supposed to, like, our dollar is the world currency. I don't know if you guys realize that, but the US dollar is the world currency. That's about to change. We're about to lose that horsepower. And if we do, real fast.
Okay, John, you said if we do, and stop, your audio stopped. If we do, and the audio stopped.
And was I talking about which if? I threw a couple of them out there.
if we no longer become the global currency, which be a disaster.
Gotcha. So if we lose that, we will become a third world country. Very, very possible, real fast. And it's XRP is going to be the thing that keeps us in control. So I think it's a plan of the government to try and position themselves to gain power over Ripple and XRP. And if they own controlling interests of that, then that's already what the whole world is running on. It's our only way to save that world power. And I think that's what they're doing. And, and I have no facts to back that up, but I can tell you, I've watched pretty advanced algorithms for the last 20 years, and I know how to decipher shit that most people don't see. And that's what I'm seeing. That would be my best guess for all of what I've seen come down the pipe, for what's going on. Right, wrong, I have no idea, but that's just my take on what's happening. And I hope I'm right, because I've positioned myself to become very wealthy if I am. So anyway, enough of the whole crypto thing. I just wanted you guys to know there's a massive opportunity ahead of you for being in that space and figuring it out. I don't even know what that means yet to figure it out. It's like when I found out, oh my God, I gotta build websites. I didn't even know how to turn a computer on at that point. I was a photographer. But I knew there was a massive opportunity to build websites for all those companies. And I'm like, I can do that. So I told them I can do that. I'll figure it out by the time it's time to do it for you. And it's going to be the same thing here. Only I think this opportunity might be even bigger than anything I've seen yet. So be aware, keep your eyes open. I talk about opportunities that drop at my doorstep every day, and I look at them with the ACT goggles. And I see, is this something I want to be a part of? And 99 times out of 100, I say no. Like, you wouldn't believe how many people bring opportunities to my feet every day. They want me to get in business with them. They want me to partner with them. They want me to invest in shit. And I put on the ACT goggles and I take a closer look. And like I said, 99 times out of 100, the answer is no thanks. But every once in a while, I keep looking though, because there's always the needle in the haystack. And I think that's what this is. This is truly a needle in the haystack. So I just wanted to give you guys that advantage, because a lot of people, they say, you have stuff we don't have, so you have opportunities that we don't. And that's bullshit. Opportunities are everywhere. It's just, if you take advantage of the wrong ones, you can spin your wheels. It'll keep you from getting into a good one. So, and I'm in a different position now than I was in the beginning. I took a lot more risk in the beginning. I took a lot more, or tried to take advantage of more opportunities that I didn't look at with the ACT goggles, and they weren't real opportunities. And I spun my wheels a considerable amount in the learning process of this. And I only tell you guys this just to save you the time and the frustration of jumping into every shiny object that comes your way, because there's a bundle of them. If you turn on your TV or open your email or go outside, get in your car and drive down the street, you're going to see opportunities everywhere. Should you get into them? I don't know. Look at them with the ACT goggles, and that'll tell you whether you should get into them or not. Look at profitability. I talk about segmenting markets. Look at the profitability of the particular segment that is a potential opportunity for you. And of the segment, remember how we figure a profitable segment? Is it big enough to sustain your sales goals, which obviously crypto and business is big enough? Is there enough people in that segment that have the money to pay for it? And again, the answer is yes. And are they willing to pay for it? This is a big enough problem. Most people are not tech savvy, especially in the crypto business. So are they willing to pay to solve that problem? Yes, it checks all the boxes. It's a massive opportunity, in my opinion. And it's big enough for all of us. You know, if it wasn't big enough for all of us, I'd just take advantage of it without telling anybody. But I'm not like that. I realize that's a scarcity mentality. If you're operating in a market that's that scarce, you shouldn't be in it. Right?
Doesn't that big opportunity also require, though, a rather big wallet to be able to purchase all these cryptos? Because I mean, you know what, Bitcoin is, you know, $10,000 for one coin, and so, you know, it seems like really excessive.
That what you're talking about is a different thing. You're talking about investing in crypto, right? I'm talking about being part of constructing the rails that it's going to run on for the companies that is going to use it. I'm talking.
How does the XRP fit into? Where's the marriage that you're talking about between XRP and building these rails? I'm not quite following that.
It's figuring out how to integrate the payment method into their current payment acceptance. Like right now, most people accept Visa, MasterCard. Some accept PayPal. And that's done across rails that were made, you know, decades ago. And the internet, we had to figure out, how do we take those rails that the banks use and how do we digitize them? Remember, I've said this umpteen thousand times. Anything that works in the real world, you can make work online. Just like cash. This is the cash working online. It's come to that point. So in the real world, Visa, MasterCard, you swipe your card. Every store had it, right? You walked into a store, you've got some merchandise, you swiped your card. The problem was, I have a website. How the hell did they swipe the card? That was the problem, right? So along comes a software called Authorize.net. They gave me the ability to plug Authorize.net into these websites and allow those merchants to now take the swiped cards on their websites. Somebody is going to come up with that solution for you that the rest of the world won't know about. They'll have no idea how to do it. Like most people don't know about Authorize.net. They just see the magic, you know, and you got guys like me that'll come in, hook it up, set it up, and they don't have to worry about it. They don't want to know about Authorize.net. They don't want to configure it. They don't want, all they want is the money to land in their bank, right? They don't want to be tech savvy. They don't want to solve their own problems. They want somebody to show up, pay them, and fix the problem.
So when somebody comes up with XRP.net, which is the processing platform, and we know that'll take hundreds of millions and maybe billions of dollars to actually build out that damn thing because it is all online. But what you're saying is then we say crypto.net, would you like to take crypto on your website? And we're the guys that can offer that. So we got to keep our antennas up for whoever is first to market with crypto.net. And then we specialize in installing it.
Exactly. It's just like the opportunity with the ADA compliancy. Somebody came up with a widget and said, Richard, would you like to offer ADA compliance to all of your website people? Buy the widget, put the widget on their site. Now they're ADA compliant. It's going to be the same thing. Somebody's going to come up with the crypto widget that plugs right into the shopping cart, and now they can take crypto payments. It's going to be that easy for you and me to do. Right? Because the other person we're doing it for, they don't know about the widget. They don't know how to install the widget. They just want the problem solved. Just like ADA compliancy. How easy would it be for a website owner to go buy the widget and plug it into their WordPress? Piece of cake, right? But they're not going to do that. They're going to pay you to do it because they don't want to deal with that. This is no different. all this is a bigger problem. The bigger the problem, the more money it's worth.
So how long before crypto.net exists?
That I don't know. I'm telling you guys to keep your eyes peeled. This opportunity is right around the corner. Like I said, this doesn't have mass adoption yet. We're still in the phase where people are looking at us like we're green and from Mars. But that's going to shift really fast. When it does, get your net out and scoop the cash. Do it as fast as you can, because the water won't stay blue forever. I've learned this, I've watched this, I've been through this many, many times, and that blue water is going to turn blood red at some point. You'll have a window of opportunity to acquire customers. Like in the very beginning, when I started doing this, my goal was to acquire hosting customers that would be with me forever. So I built free websites to do it. I knew, a lot of you guys have heard the story of how I got into the internet. I had all those customers that were paying me for photography that didn't need me anymore because of Photoshop. I did special effects. That industry basically collapsed overnight with the advent of Photoshop and the adoption of Photoshop. It was gone within a 2-year window. I'm talking about a booming, highly lucrative industry gone in 2 years. So in that 2 years, I made the shift of taking all those customers that I had, big companies, big, massive companies all over the US. And I went in and I said, hey, I know you guys don't have budget for internet and website, but here's what I'll do for you. Since you're already a customer, I'll build you the website for free, because I know you don't have it built into your budget. I get that. There's nothing you can do about that. But it takes hosting, and we can use your petty cash budget to pay for the hosting. So I charged them a couple $100 a month, padded the hosting costs to pay for the web development over time. It's almost like I put them on a payment plan without telling them. They all loved it. I built anywhere from 3 to 5 websites a week for a couple of years in that transition. By the end of that 2 years, I had a massive hosting business that was paying me recurring income more than I've ever seen in my life. And I was able to stop. I could have retired right there, right then and there. But I didn't. I took like a year and went and played while the money kept rolling in. Rejuvenated myself, because I worked my ass off for those 2 years. Imagine building 3 to 5 websites a week for 2 years. And I wasn't outsourcing it. I was building them myself. Built that up, took a year, spent like 5 or 6 weeks on cruise ships, played, did all kinds of fun stuff. And then I came back with a fresh pair of eyes. And that's when I jumped into SEO. I went back to all the people I'd created the websites for. I saw the next revolution of this, went back to them and I said, here's what you have. You have an electronic brochure. I said, now, you guys are very business savvy. I know you wouldn't pay for a brochure and leave it in the box under your desk, but that's what's happened with your website because you haven't advertised it. I said, what I can do for you is I can take the internet website brochure out of the box and I can put it in the hands of the right people for you. I can drive traffic, the right people to your website so they see your brochure. And you know what happens in the real world when the right people see your brochure, right? You do business. That was how I sold SEO. I didn't even know what to call it, but I described it that way. They had a budget for advertising. So now I could tap into their big coffers and get them to pay me for SEO, which again, we didn't even know what to call it. It was traffic, basically. I can drive traffic to your site and you will make money.
Is SitePop still valid?
Yeah, SitePop is very valid.
Because I've got a client that actually we're looking into building rental websites for driving traffic to small towns like tow truck or gardeners or and wanted to set that up for the smaller towns that don't have the 3-pack. And
Gotcha.
do you guys have any? Do you still have any discounts on that, or Black Friday specials coming up?
We are going to be putting out another Black Friday special. And actually, we're not very far away from that, are we?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty crazy. But yeah, one thing about that, I talked about opportunities landing at my feet every day, and most of them I'll say no to. I would say no to that one.
To which one?
For me, the whole rank and rent thing.
Oh, really?
I mean, why would I build a site in hopes someone would buy it when there's a million people right there with a problem that will pay me to solve the solution for them?
No. What the strategy we're thinking of doing? We have this thing called Call Rail, and it will forward the call and record the conversation to whatever business that's on like page 4, and you say, hey, I've got these leads coming in for landscaping person.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you were doing the rank and rent thing.
No. So, and then they would, after about a week or two, if they get some calls, we'll be able to say, how much is it worth? Or, we'd like to charge like, $20 a lead or something. And everything is recorded.
Personally, I would charge them right out of the gate.
Okay.
I would go in there and I'd say, we've got leads. Here's the cost. How many do you want?
The challenge is though that I don't have time to answer the calls, so I'd just rather forward them to them, and then there's like a whisper mode as they dial in, they'll say call from WebGuru Masters or something, and then the landscaper will pick up, and it'll be from some guy wanting landscaping work in whatever small town they're in. I'm just using this as an example, but
Sure, I get it. But
and then we would then follow up with them, say, hey, we noticed that you got 4 calls this week. Is that something of interest to you? And give them a couple for free. But
yeah, that's one way to do it. But people have a hard time paying for something they get for free. I've seen that over and over and over.
But you can also just switch the phone number to the next guy in the search rank.
I get it. Believe me, I understand what you're doing, but I'm talking about the way people are and who your ideal customer is. And what you're talking about is you're talking about sifting through a potential pile of garbage to find an ideal customer. Where if you go to a guy that knows he needs leads and he knows the value of the leads, he's going to be a good customer and he'll pay you right up front. You can make him a guarantee of, hey, if I send you 10 leads and they don't work out for you and you don't want them anymore, I'll give you a money back guarantee.
Okay.
That's the way I would do it. Believe me, you will, doing it the way you're going to do it, you're going to come across some real dickheads, for lack of a better word. Believe me. And you're not going to be happy about the way that makes you feel.
Yeah. Okay. Dan's setting up the initiative on that. But.
Yeah. That there's a lot of guys that sell these type of programs. They're really good at selling them, but the reality of the way business actually works, like there's a bunch of guys selling the whole rank and rent thing. And I saw that. I'm like, oh, hell no, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. There's too many people out there that are willing to pay you to do work versus you doing a bunch of work hoping they'll pay.
Right.
That's not the way I want to go through life.
John, how does that merge with results in advance though? They seem to be conflicting there. There's companies out there that say, we'll run our service for a month for free, and if you like it, great. Otherwise, we'll discontinue.
Well, most of those companies have a big staff, and they're willing to burn them. But most of you guys are a single entrepreneur, and if you get burnt, you're done. You need to protect the king. So if you're boots on the ground, your job's to protect yourself from getting burnt out. And if you've got a big company and you've got, 10 people on the sales floor and you can replace them at the bat of an eye and you don't care, put them on the phones, let them cold call, let them cook themselves to find you a good customer. But that's on a different level. And that's willing to churn and burn. So, I know Chris is not in that category. He's going to be dealing with these people himself. And the job number one is to protect the king. If the king goes down, the chess game's over.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you made one other comment and you were using a pronoun and I didn't get the pronoun. You were saying rather than doing the rank and rent, you do that. You've got another thing here you could do. I just sell them that. And I didn't follow what that you were referring to.
Oh, it's the same thing. If they want rank, they'll pay for it. Instead of you ranking it and then renting it to them. And then, it puts you in a power position. And if they don't pay, you can sell it to somebody else. That's the only advantage to it. But you're doing a whole bunch of work up front in hopes that you get paid. And I never liked that model.
So what was the big opportunity that you would do instead?
I would offer them the service. They'll pay for the service.
The service of site pop or sending them leads or what?
Yeah, they'll pay up front. Whatever service it is that you're trying to build in order to rent them, they will pay you up front. So you don't have to spend your time and effort and resources and not get paid for X amount of time to create that. They'll pay you up front because you're building it for them. And they'll value you much more.
Do you see an end to these rank and rent type of websites or selling websites to people? I had a bright idea that I was just started kicking around, was not just websites, because you got all kinds of newbies out there that'll give away a website or whatever, but it's a shit website. What about, I was thinking about building a state-of-the-art lead generation website with the SEO built in, with the email built in. And so basically it's back to that automated referral marketing platform where you can rent this website for $400, $600, $800 a month. And all you have to do is please make the phone calls that show up on your appointment calendar that we will book for you. Does that make any sense?
It's really no different than going back to my concept of, if I were to put a membership site together, I would put it together after it was sold. And if I couldn't sell it, I wouldn't spend the time to make it.
Well, this would be an optimized website for plumbers. And I would go to every plumber in every city and say, here's a website you can rent for this long, and it's a proven web model because it works over here and works over here. And all I'm doing is changing the tags on the home page, and other than that, everything else gets set up and just runs. So it's a replicable website. That looked to me like that might be sustainable. That's
exactly what Dan was trying to do, and we're going to use SitePop for that, I think. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that, John?
It's the rank and rent model. Like if you were to give me the opportunity to work my ass off to build great stuff in hopes I could rent it versus going to people that were willing to pay me to build that for them specifically, I'd take that one all day long.
Yeah, I was talking about selling the first website first, building it out, and now I have my model that when I go to the next plumber, I just take that website, make the few modifications for their city and state, and done.
As you probably know, SEO isn't a drop in the barrel. It's a long process. So you're
yeah, you're gonna have to run. You're gonna have to do other things in advance. I mean, to get while we're waiting for the SEO and stuff to come up. But in most of these markets, you're
Oh.
back to, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun the other websites. And in a lot of these local markets, if you just have a website up that is just basically done, you're already on page one. And then you just need site pop to get it the rest of the way.
Yeah. But ranking, you guys don't realize what a valuable skill being able to rank a site is. There are people that will pay you to be a mercenary to do that. And you don't have to put your own time, effort, or resources into it before you get a pile of money in your pocket.
Elaborate.
So that was pretty. It's pretty clear, pretty clean and simple. It's the idea of two types of businesses. There's one guy that will go and he'll build a business that has a warehouse, and he's got to fill the warehouse with merchandise, right? He's got a bunch of time, a bunch of money, a bunch of effort into filling that warehouse in hopes that people can buy his stuff. The other guy will go pre-sell those goods. He doesn't even need the warehouse. He just ships the merchandise right to the person and gets paid. That's two different types of businesses. It's the same thing as the guy that will build a membership site in hopes people will buy it, versus a guy like me that will go out and throw an idea out, see how many people want to buy it, and then he'll decide if it's worth him building it or not. And he'll only build it after he's pre-sold it.
Okay. All right. Let's take the time to take the gloves off in this conversation. Here we go. Here we go. All right. John gave me the same goddamn information he's trying to give to you all in 5 different ways. He gave this information to me in 2019. My idea, based on my career, was that I'm going to take all the money I had and I'm going to buy a 22-foot truck and put live event equipment from beginning to end in that truck and go around and do live events with my existing corporate customers and make a shitload of money. And John looked at me and, it's like, how much are you going to spend? Like 200,000 for the gear, 85 for the truck. He looked at me and he said, why don't you just produce the live events and rent all the gear? And I was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Do you know how much money I'm going to lose? Anyway, long story short, I ignored this advice.
How much did you lose?
And in March of 2020, COVID hit. My job as a live event producer was to put large groups of people in a confined space for extended periods of time. And I said to myself, if I would have just listened to what John said, I would not have spent $285,000 to then go look for people to do events for. I would have instead grabbed my laptop and found people that wanted events done and done it for them. So there you go. John, if you need to keep explaining after that, you go ahead. If they don't hear it, if they're not hearing it, they're never going to hear it.
No, it's a basic business concept. There's multiple ways to run a business. None of them are wrong. It's just how bad a beating do you want to take? And you guys know how soft my head is. I'm trying to preserve my hair. See Chris there, his picture? He didn't preserve his hair.
Yeah. Before that, when John gave me that advice, I had a full set of hair. And look at me now.
That's too funny.
Okay, John, then just throw it out. With all the stuff that you see on a day-to-day basis, what is a current blue ocean that's moving red? What would you do? Would you do the websites? Would you do the SEO? Because, and given the model that you the way that you came up is not a replicable model, because there aren't businesses looking for photographers, and you already had a whole portfolio full of businesses. So you're you're not going out and trying to find people to do websites and SEO for. You're just dipping into an existing market. We know the difference between tapping, what it costs you to fulfill on an existing customer versus acquire a new customer for that. So the world's a different place than it was for you back in the late 80s and early 90s.
Absolutely. But have you ever heard that fashion comes back into style about every 20 years? So
Yeah.
don't throw your clothes away. They'll be back in style 20 years from now. Right? You've heard that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you go back, where did I make my initial money? It was on web development, right? And hosting and locking in those customers for life. Advance forward, we're 20 years down the line now. Guess what I've been taking advantage of over the last couple of years? People that had websites built by idiots that didn't know what they were doing, or they built it themselves and they got a pile of garbage. And now they're finally recognizing they need a new website. So website development, if you know what you're doing and you can is blue ocean right now, has been for the last couple of years.
If you know what you're doing, that's when your sound cut out.
If you know what you're doing and you can express that to them, it's a blue ocean right now to rebuild people's websites, because most of the websites were built 20 years ago. They weren't secure. There's a lot of stuff in them, like the ADA compliance, the FTC compliance, all that stuff. They know they need it, and if they don't, you can easily tell them, you can explain it to them that, hey, you could be in a lot of trouble with your website. One of my customers, that he built his own website, he is now in a lawsuit from an ADA attorney all over him. This guy is a bloodthirsty tool, and he is just relentless. So you can use those kind of examples of, hey, you might want to think about updating your website to today's standards because things have changed. There's legal issues to having a website now you might not be aware of. Now, if you're the one that's educating them on this, do you think they're going to go shopping elsewhere to find somebody to fix this for them? Or do they think they might say, hey, how much for you to just fix this for me? That is right now the blue ocean. That's right in front of us. The water has cleared. The blood went away. The ocean rejuvenated itself. It's blue again. And there's not a lot of people serving that market. The way I actually found it, the way I discovered that one was in selling Site Pop to the pool guys a couple of years ago. I got this opportunity to speak to a pool conference, pool guys. And I was going to sell them the Site Pop service of optimizing their site so they could get referrals. So I did my presentation and I told them, I said, for me to do this, you have to qualify. And one of the qualifiers is your website has to be SEO friendly. It's got to be secure. It's got to be right. I'm not going to do this to an old garbage site that it's not going to work because it's going to waste your money, waste my time, and neither one of us is going to be happy in the end. So I did the guarantee where if you pay me now, I'll look at your site. If it qualifies, I'll go ahead and start the service and you'll be off to the races. If it doesn't qualify, I'm going to give you a call and I'm going to go over the site with you and I'm going to tell you what's wrong so you can fix it, and then we can continue, or I just give you your money back. You choose. 9 out of 10 of the sites I looked at were atrocious. They didn't have SSL installed. They weren't mobile friendly, and it created an opportunity for me to do web development, which I didn't want to do, honestly. So together a web development team like 2 or 3 years ago that they have built between then and now probably over 200 sites. In the last 2 years, we've put up over 200 websites from the team that I put together. What did that do? That got me 200 hosting customers that are all going to pay me for a lot of opportunity to upgrade them into Kartra, into Act, into anything that I think that they would need. That's my current blue ocean. And what I'm telling you is there's another one ahead with the whole crypto thing. There's always blue ocean. You just have to find it. I stumbled on that one. I had no idea. I thought web development, web development was like regular photography. Anybody with a camera was a photographer, right? Web, you had a dog, you were a web developer, right? Didn't mean you're any good. All it meant was you're a web developer. If most people had the sites built by their teenager, a teenager savvy at business, is a teenager going to tell them what the call to action should be? No, but can they build a website? Sure. Does the website
can you afford to spend that much time on a $20 or $40 a month reoccurring hosting thing? I mean, you're talking about heavy. I mean, the website, I told your guys, copy your website with my colors, and we're still 2.5 months into it, getting into the third month on it. That seems to me like, I don't know how that would be financially sustainable.
Well, Rich, you're very different than the average person here. The average person says, redo the site. My web developers do a mock-up design, they approve it, and it's done in like 2 days.
Are you working from industry templates, like you've got a plumber site and this sort of site, so you've got models or something, or each one off?
They're all one-offs. The team can develop a look and feel, a style. As soon as the client approves it, it's done and over. Like 2 days, we're live. And at this point, I've opened that up to all my resellers, and now I'm not even selling the websites. The resellers are selling the websites. I'm wholesaling the websites to them, getting the hosting customers, and basically creating that relationship with the with the resellers so they can experience that blue ocean. Can sell these like Jim. He's not on the call right now. He's probably sold 30 or 40 websites in the last 2 years using my developers.
What's the price point that you're charging these businesses, and what are the businesses' annual sales to support the cost? I mean, what's that balance between those two?
Typically, we'll retail a website. We'll retail a website out to the customer for about $1,200, which if they go anywhere else, it's going to be $2,000, $3,000, up to $5,000. That's what they're experiencing. I can build the websites for my resellers for about $500 or $600. They can double their money, acquire a customer. Like with Jim, he sells coaching services, consulting services. So he's stockpiling customers long-term and he's using the entry access point as their website. They're always going to come back to him for the website edits, all that stuff. But now he's got a coaching customer, consulting clients, and he can sell them all kinds of stuff. It's not the $20 thing. It's the lifetime value of the customer. That's what you look at.
I was kind of looking at scalability, because as soon as you're personally involved doing coaching, that immediately puts a cap on how many coaching people you can I mean, it's not coaching in the normal format is really not all that scalable unless you're just doing all recorded programs.
Correct. And that's his choice. He likes to do it. But for him to get those coaching customers, this is an easy way for him to do that. At some point, he might decide, oh, this isn't scalable. This isn't giving me enough to take me where I want to go. And then he'll change his business model. But for now, it's giving him exactly what he wants. And that's really all you need to do. You got to figure out what is it that you want, and then what doors do you have to open to get. Everybody has different business models. I've probably had 50 of them during my lifetime. The one I have now is just highly, highly advanced to protect my soft head. That's why I'm extremely picky.
Right now, my focus is I'm really looking at productizing the services that I offer so that it's scalable, and I'm not going to be around all that much longer, and my son has probably got as soft a head as you, or maybe even softer, so it better be able to be run by a businessman and a bunch of outsourcers, or it's not going to be sustainable. So that's, I'm looking pretty far down the road in terms of what can I offer that's going to be scalable and sustainable. It's not that literally is going to require the minimum amount from me other than the management of whoever it is that's doing it. And I need to have those margins at 70% or higher.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I continue to do, the reseller deal that I do, because most people don't want to run a team. They don't have the skills to actually run the team. So I just run the team for them, allow them to outsource to one spot instead of having to manage a team and run a team and all that. If you've got those skills, it's not that difficult to set up a team of web developers or SEO guys or whatever services that you want to offer, and you can do it yourself. But there's more moving parts to it, where I've already got that part dialed in. And most guys that run a business, they're good at sales, they're not so good at the fulfillment. And I'm the opposite. I'm the polar opposite of that. I hate sales, but fulfillment, I can put fulfillment systems in place. And I've been doing it since I was a preteen, figuring out how do I get shit done for people so I can get paid. I just didn't like to do the sales process on the that's why growing up, I partnered with my brother. I could sell anything to anybody. And I told him, I don't give a shit what you sell. I can build it. Just go sell stuff and I'll make it happen. So we were a match made in heaven. And, so he's no longer around. So now I have my resellers that want to go sell stuff. Keeps me in my box where I like to be. I'm not out on the front end and stuff, and not competing in any way with the resellers. Once in a while, I'll get an opportunity, I'll go like the pool thing. I went out, did that, shared it with the resellers and said, hey, this is a really golden opportunity. This was really easy. This is blue water. I'm always looking for the blue water and very willing to share it when I
Your Starlink is failing you. Your picture just went half size.
Well, that was about all I had for this week anyway. So any other questions or anything you want me to hit specifically?
So what's the link for the site pop? And is there an affiliate link that we can refer to other people or send other people to with that?
Yep. Yeah, if you go on to internetdominators.com and go down to the bottom, become an affiliate, that will sign you up for the affiliate program where you can get the links to send out for it. Right now, the only link that we have up for Site Pop publicly is the site-pop.com.
Okay.
And it's got, I don't know what pricing is on it, but I don't think it's not the pricing that we give like on the webinars and stuff. But if you send me an email, I'll send you a private link to the webinar pricing if you want to get it yourself.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I tried to log into our affiliate brokers login and it says for some reason doesn't recognize our account.
If you had a Kartra account that your affiliate was attached to and you dump the Kartra paid account, it breaks that affiliate link, which I'm going to talk to them about that because I don't think shouldn't do that, but it does. Notice that with a few people. But if that's the case, just use a different email, sign up for another affiliate and just go about it that way. And then don't turn that affiliate into a paid Kartra account unless you're going to keep it forever.
Okay, yeah, I found one for the Internet Dominator family. Is that the same one?
Dominator family is the ACT program. That's the ACT
Okay.
The ACT package that gives you pretty much all of the ACT stuff.
Okay. I'll send you an email. Thanks for,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, we definitely want to get that going as soon as possible. But I guess we'll wait for the Black Friday thing, whatever. you do with that.
No, just send me an email and I'll send it right to you.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right, we're getting ready for the big Huntington Beach Air Show tomorrow. I'm gonna take the boat out. I'll be out there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So,
Wow. Well, hopefully the XRP they'll close the case or settle tomorrow.
Ooh, that'll be a celebration.
I'm gonna be watching that one. One of the women coming on is bringing champagne just in case. So
Talk about the air show. The planes are flying out of Los Alamitos Navy Base in Los Alamitos. I think I might go down tonight to go to the pub to see if we can meet any of the flyers, because there is a pub right next to the airstrip. And then Friday, I'm going to go down for a couple hours, watch the landings and takeoffs. And then Sunday, I'll be with John on the boat.
all right, yeah. Any of you guys that are local, I sent that link out if you guys want to join us. But I know a lot
I
of
wish we were closer. I would. I'd be there.
It's a little bit of a hop from Greece there, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
What time is it there right now? The middle of the night?
No, it's about 10:20. Not too bad.
Oh, PM?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not bad.
It's the crypto calls that cut into the night. Those start at midnight.
John, one last quick thing before you go. Are you saying that you think that this XRP is going to be big enough that it'd be wise for us to, if we have a casual moment, we can sketch out a marketing plan for marketing whatever that crypto.net becomes, and then so we have an idea, so when it actually hits, all we got to do is fill in the details and then market it?
Pretty much. I think that's, and like I said, that adoption is probably not going to happen in the next week. The thing we're talking about happening in the next week is the lawsuit behind it being over, and having if you're an investor in either the company or the crypto, the price is probably just going to shoot up astronomically.
They'll have regulatory clarity. Yeah, my bags are stacked for XRP.
Yeah, I'm pretty well packed myself on that one. I've been accumulating it for almost 4 years now. So its day has come.
Well, I'm sure crypto.net isn't going to be up for a period of time that's going to be, like you said, substantial, but maybe in the next 6 to 12 months they might be ready to roll it out.
Oh, believe me, I'm watching very closely. I will let you guys know when the time is right, but I just wanted to put the forecaster out there for you, so you know what to look forward to.
Right.
Can I email
Can't
you?
wait.
I guess I'll send you an email, because I've asked a couple times about the crypto thing and you've never really gone into it on this call, which I understand perhaps why. So I'll email you instead.
Yeah, I have a whole another crypto thing that I do where we do these kind of calls just on that.
Is that another group?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started that one almost a year ago.
Is that free or is that a paid group?
It was a paid group. I sold it basically as a 1-year thing because I wasn't sure if I was going to continue it or not. And it's been awesome. We've got probably about 50 people in the group, and it's been cool. So I may open it up again and do it, for another year, or who knows. This one
It's a really good group. It's a really good group. Good info.
Yeah.
Well, keep us posted on the link or whatever.
All right, that sounds good. I will shoot that out. But I promoted it like one time. Here's the I put out an email saying who's interested. I got 50 people that said I'd pay for that. So I put up the link. Once they paid, I built the membership and away we went. So my model to protect the king, make sure that I'm not spending bills doing stuff, you know, in hopes of being paid. I had enough people, enough interested people that ponied up right in the front gate that it was okay. This is worthwhile. You guys want this, willing to pay for it. Boom, done. I will jump into that any day of the week. But if you ask me if I would build this thing in hopes people would buy it, nope, I'll sleep in. I've got better shit to do. So, all right, guys, well, have a great week. I hope that you take that to heart. I mean, I'm not saying all this stuff, you know, just for the hell of it. It's how I operate.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lifetime to get here. So if I can help you advance through any of the pain, that's what it's for. That's what it's all about. So, all right. Well, have a great week, and we will see you all next week.
Have
Look
fun at
forward
the
to
air
it.
show.
Thanks,
You guys
John.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks, John.